Hi everyone, this is Richard. Let's talk about data types. This is an area of big, huge controversy, okay? Well, not so much controversy, more of just differences in philosophy. Some people think it's very important, some people not so much so, okay? What am I talking about? So I think we're all going to agree that hello world or any text is not the same thing as a number, right? If you want to add 5 to hello world, it doesn't really work very well, right? You can't have 5 hello world or hello world 5. Right, it doesn't work very well. If you've got two texts, you can add them together, right? So if it was hello world plus hello world equals hello world, you could do that, right? Or if you get 5 plus 5, it could equal 10. So you can add numbers in certain ways, and you can add text, and same thing is true for other types of information, right? So how do you manage that in C#? In C#, when you determine a data type, it has to be defined by a keyword. And the keyword would be different for every variable. For example, string would be a string, int would be an integer or a whole number, okay? Double would be decimals, and a bool would be either a true or false. So bool, a boolean, is either a true or false value. That's all it tells you, just yes or no, all right? So with using the keywords, we'd be something like int my number equals 22. And let's see, double, remember lower cases, we always have to keep that in mind. My double equals, and it knew from my number, it's going to say my double right now. It's going to be 33.22, okay? And then bool would be my bool equals false. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and say that it's false. It could have been true. We'll make it false for right now. So the keyword says what the variable actually is going to be. Once I say that the integer int my number, variable my number from now on has to be an int. It has to be an int from now on. It's never not going to be an int. That's the way it has to be. Okay. Same thing with double. My double says that my double variable has to be a double from now on. You can't change it. That's what we call a static language. You define ahead of time, you define what the variable type actually is, and it stays that way as long as the variable exists. You could delete the variable, but as long as it exists, then it's going to be static or the same type. With a dynamic language, what you could do is you could say, so let's get an example. My number equals 1. Okay, so you could say int my number. Oh, by the way, I forgot some of the basics. This is what when you say an int my number, that's what we call declaring the variable. Okay, sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself. Declare the variable. And then instantiate the variable. Declare the variable simply means you have to say, put the keyword and the variable, whatever that keyword is and the variable itself. That's declaring the variable. It tells the computer this variable is now a bool. It may not have a value, but that's what's going on, okay? When you instantiate the variable, actually it's initialize. I'm sorry. There is such a term, instantiate. It's completely wrong. Initialize, sorry. When you initialize the variable, you give it the first value. Okay, so int my number equals 22. We are both declaring the variable and initializing it as well. We're giving it a value, right? What happens if I do this? Int my number, right? So I am declaring the variable, but I am not instantiating it until the next line where I instantiate the variable. Excuse me, initialize the variable. What the heck? So I'm initializing the variable. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. You could change the value of the variable as time goes by, right? That's perfectly okay to do overall. So what we'll do here is we'll say my number, and then down here we'll do my double, and then down here we'll do my bool. Okay, and let's try running that, see what happens. Okay, so it'll be 22 okay? Because the last one, it starts from up to down. The last number is 2, not 1, and then 33.2, and then false, okay? Sometimes this autocorrect and this, it's trying to help you out, but it sometimes gets in the way, right? So we'll keep that in mind. So declaring the variable, initializing the variable, you don't always do them at the same time, but that's always an option, all right? So you could change this. But what you cannot do is my number equals again, everything has to end with a semicolon, remember? You cannot do this. Why not? Cannot implicitly convert string to int. In other words, this is an int. You cannot convert it into a string, right? Oh, and you can't convert it to something else. So 1.2, you can't do that either. Oh, wait a minute. Spelling counts. Okay, 1.2. Why not? Cannot convert double into int. They're separate. They're different altogether. Again, some languages are dynamic where you could do this. You can make it the same variable. You can make it a integer. Then you could change it to a string. Then you could change it to something else. It doesn't really make a difference. That is not the case with static languages, and that's what this program actually is. That's what C# actually is. Okay? So we'll keep that in mind. I think we know a little bit of basics about them. We'll go over them a little bit more in the very next few videos. Thanks.